Mr. Mayor, we like.
All right. Today is November 2nd, 2022.
Thank you.
All right. Today is November 2nd, 2022. The time is 7 o'clock, and I'm calling to order the Baldwin Park City Council regular meeting. I see we have Pastor Jackson and Pastor Flores. Would you both mind leading us in an invocation?
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and welcome everyone. Pongan sus pies, por favor. Y gracias por esta oportunidad y privilegio. Vamos a orar. Jehová es mi pastor y nada me faltará. God, we thank you that you are our shepherd, Lord, and we have no wants. Gracias por la sabiduría. We praise you, Father, for your wisdom, Lord, as you continue to lead. Lord, we pray, ora por esta temporada, this season that we're in, Lord, where we can humble ourselves, Lord, and serve you effectively and efficiently and serve our community. Thank you for our mayor, our council. Lord, may we continue to strengthen them, our police department, all those servants in the public today, Lord. We thank you, Father. Grace us with your presence. In Jesus' name.
Father, we humble ourselves together to come and intercede and pray for Baldwin Park. Lord, a house divided cannot stand. And we have this election, Lord, that's splitting people, Lord. We asking you, Lord God, to humble ourselves, put us together, even after the election, whether we like it or not, that we are one body here in Baldwin Park. We're asking for your mighty hand upon the city council and the mayor with the decisions that they have to make, Lord, giving them wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And Father, there's many things are happening out there in the streets with police officers, Lord. And we just plead the blood of Christ over the police officers as they are out there in the street and giving them that divine protection, Lord, that they can do their job and go back home to their families, Lord God. We're asking you, Lord God, and putting your hand upon our schools, Lord, and our children, Lord God. We need you. There's a drug called fentanyl that's just going rampant. Lord, we break the power of drugs in the name of the Lord. And we asking you put your hands upon our businesses here, Lord, that they shall prosper, even in the midst of what's going on, that they should prosper. Our military, Lord, that is the police force around the world. And with all the discord that is happening, Lord, it's almost like at any time or any moment that we might be in a World War III or a bomb put your hedge of protection around about us, Lord God, and giving our president wisdom and knowledge and understanding in how to govern this nation, that we may live a quiet and peaceful nation. In the name of the Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, can I have a roll call, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Alejandra Avila.
Here.
Councilmember Monica Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Paul Hernandez. Councilmember Paul Hernandez. Mayor Pro Tem Daniel Damian.
Here.
Mayor Manuel Estrada.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Me, Marie Contreras.
Of course, we can't forget our city treasurer, Marie Contreras. Marie, nice to hear from you. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Madam City
I'm
Clerk, I
excited.
received, oh, sorry. I received a note from Councilmember Hernandez that he wouldn't make it.
Great. So, City Attorney, do we have anything to report out?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of City Council. Earlier tonight, the City Council held a special meeting to discuss the closed session items. Those are listed on the special meeting agenda. There were quite a few items, but the council did not get to everything, as some did not require any report. The first item was conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to paragraph 2, subdivision D of Government Code section 5956.9, as well as subsection E1. City Council provided direction on the 3 cases that were discussed. We also had a discussion in the case of Brian Vasquez versus City of Baldwin Park. In that case, the City Council, by a vote of 5-0, authorized the approval of a settlement agreement that would provide the plaintiff in that case, Brian Vasquez, with $25,000 in return for a release of all claims. Mr. Vasquez at that point would be responsible for his own attorney's fees. City Council also had a discussion in the case of Rookley versus City of Baldwin Park. In that case, the City Council, by a vote of 5-0, ratified the filing of a cross complaint in the Rookley matter. In the other matters, City Council heard a presentation from its special counsel regarding the last case in Christopher Kuberry, Michael Hemingway, Raymond Finley versus City of Baldwin Park. There's no reportable action. And there were also very, very brief discussions in the other 3 cases that are listed on the agenda. There was nothing substantive for the council to review on those items, and there's no reportable action. That concludes the report, Mayor.
Great. Thank you for that, City Attorney. At this moment, I will move to adjourn the special meeting. Can I get a second? Any objections? If not, the special meeting is now adjourned. It's closed. We move on to our proclamations, commendations, and presentations, and we do have some staff introductions from SoCal Gas, and I believe it'll be presented by Lene O'Shields, who is their Public Affairs Manager.
As a presentation. PowerPoint?
Mark, do you have a presentation? There we go.
Thank you. What about now? Oh. Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and Council members. My name is Lene O'Shields, and I'm here to introduce myself as your new Public Affairs Manager and provide a brief SoCal Gas overview. As you can see here, as I mentioned, my name is Lene O'Shields. I grew up in the San Gabriel Valley. I did my schooling throughout the San Gabriel Valley, and I'm just delighted to be back to serve communities that I truly am immersed in, I live in, I play in, I work in. I started my degree at Mount SAC, and I ended with my graduate degree at the University of La Verne. I started my utility career at a little water district, Walnut Valley Water District, and then I went over to the city of Pomona. I was actually city staff for several years before coming to the gas company. I've been with the gas company for about 10 years, and I've been in this role since about February of this year. So truly, I'm delighted to be back to serve the San Gabriel Valley. Let's jump into the SoCal Gas overview. SoCal Gas is the largest natural gas distribution utility in America. We service 22 million customers, your constituents. As you can see here, we go up to Visalia, down to the Mexican border, so everything in blue. We cover 20,000 square miles. That little outlet in white, that is San Diego Gas and Electric. That is not part of SoCal Gas, but that is over the Sempra utility umbrella. We operate over 100,000 miles of pipeline. This is going to be really key a little bit later in my presentation. We are regulated by the California Public Utilities Commission. They really give us our marching order. So we go through a general rate case every 3 to 4 years. We are currently in that phase. We have applied for a general rate case, and they'll give us our marching orders for 2024 to 2027. I think it goes without saying that SoCal Gas provides you the warm water in your home, the heat to dry your clothes, maybe even the heat, at your Pilot, the beautiful blue Pilot, to be able to cook your warm food. But what many don't know is that when the wind isn't blowing and the sun isn't shining, SoCal Gas does operate power plants, LADWP, SoCal Edison, to be able to keep the electricity on. That generates natural gas, helps generate electricity. So when we just experienced those hot spells during the summer, they were really tapping into natural gas to be able to keep the lights on. So just kind of a fun fact of natural gas. Sustainability at SoCalGas has and will continue to be paramount. It's part of our 150 years. We're a 150-year-old company. But just back in 2021, we made a big announcement, Aspire 2045, that is to be carbon neutral in our energy and delivery of energy by 2045. So not only in what we maintain and what we operate, but also what you see at your home is going to be a little bit greener. It's our mission to build the cleanest, safest, and most innovative, energy company in America. The other way, if we can go the other way. Yes. So you may ask how we're doing this, how we're going to get to those goals of carbon neutral by 2045. I talked a little bit about our 100,000 miles of pipeline. We are just introducing a cleaner molecule into our pipeline. So right now it's renewable natural gas, 5% by the end of 2022. We will surpass that goal. We have about 4% in 2021. This, you might say, cows, why do you have cows up on the screen? Well, essentially, there's a lot of dairy farmers up in the Central Valley. So that methane that's naturally producing that goes up into the air, we're capturing that, conditioning it, and putting it right back into our pipeline. A lot of landfills from food waste, from human waste also produces a lot of methane. So we are conditioning it and putting it right back into our pipeline. I talked about the California Utilities Commission. They gave us our first renewable standard back in 2021. We're the first natural gas utility company in America to be able to have a renewable gas standard that allows us to introduce renewable natural gas into our pipeline. Next, hydrogen will also play a big role. We have many investments in the hydrogen space. We have many RD&D projects. Over Sunline Transit, they're building a hydrogen pipeline underneath the ground adjacent to our natural gas pipeline. This is going to be very telling. This is going to fuel their buses to be able to see what we can do here in the San Gabriel Valley. You may ask, how does that relate here to San Gabriel Valley? Well, Foothill Transit just purchased 30 hydrogen buses. So it's that fuel cell. If you guys see Mirais in the world, those are fuel cell hydrogen powered cars. So we essentially would like to replicate that with kind of our larger, harder to displace, diesel trucks. And finally, next slide, please. Our Downey house, it's our hydrogen house. It's a really exciting project that we have at Downey over at the ERC. It'll have solar panels. It'll take that excess electricity. It'll convert it into a fuel cell, be able to generate electricity in your home and also mix it with natural gas to be able to run your appliances. A very exciting project. It's going to actually unveil this month. So I look forward to continuing to bring you on that journey with us. Finally, we have an application with the California Public Utilities Commission to build a dedicated hydrogen pipeline into the LA Basin. I talked a lot about electricity and how natural gas helps produce electricity. This will help kind of those power plants produce greener electricity. Also, those hard to electrify sectors, it'll also help with that. Again, this is only an application with the California Public Utilities Commission, so more to follow here, but very exciting for us to be able to announce this application. Next slide, please. And finally, I would be remiss if during these colder times, I don't talk about our winter gas bills. We did have a transportation rate change that was approved by the California Public Utilities Commission in 2019. So that rate change you will see went in effect January 1st of 2022. But now as the months get colder, you might see a little increase in your bill. Also weather, you sometimes go for that thermostat and not for that jacket. So we encourage you to wear a jacket if your health allows you to. Sometimes you're cooking for longer, so that also, or you're cooking instead of eating out because you're at home, so that also increases your natural gas bill. Also, we never charge a past due amount, but with that, you can have a growing bill. So we ask you to continue to be cognizant of that bill, especially during the holiday. We won't charge you at that holiday, but that can mean maybe your 28-day cycle bill can go to 30 or 32 days. Finally, we have many wonderful programs for income qualified customers. Our CARE program, you can save up to 20% on your utility bill. So that's a great program to look into. Our energy savings assistance bill, this will be a third-party contractor entering your home, also for income-qualified customers to be able to do retrofits to your home. And finally, our medical baseline, you can get natural gas at a discounted price for medical conditions. We encourage you to visit SoCalGas.com to find out more about these wonderful programs. Next slide. And that's all I have. This is my contact information. Again, Linnea Shields, your new Public Affairs Manager. I'm delighted to be here to be your new representative. As I mentioned, I grew up in the San Gabriel Valley. I live in the San Gabriel Valley, so I'm just delighted to be back to serve you. My cell phone number, my email address, also our customer call center is available, and SoCalGas.com is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So thank you so much for accommodating some time here, and I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So at this point, we will ask our, well, you know what, Manny, do you want to introduce our prom king and queen, and then we can have them come up here to the dais?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. and Mrs. Vincent and Josefina Ciordia. Vincent and Josefina have been married for an amazing 56 years. They have 6 children, Veronica, Sandra, Fernando, Sonia, Eugene, and Patty, as well as 12 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. They have been living in Baldwin Park since 1990 and have been active participants at the Julia McNeil Senior Center for 22 years. They enjoy playing loteria in the morning, going on senior trips, and attending workshops. Josefina is also involved in the fitness and sewing club. And recently, they were honored as a king and queen from the community, selected by the senior population as the newest king and queen for the city of Baldwin Park, Julia McNeil Senior Center. So please join me in welcoming them.
All right. And so I think the majority of us got to party it up and congratulate them that same night. We're very excited to congratulate them again and present them this plaque in recognition of their crowning. And so Vincent and Josefina Ciordia, the City Council applauds you for your volunteer work, commitment, and the dedicated service you provide to the citizens and the community members of Baldwin Park. Thank you for the favorable recognition you bring to our city, and congratulations for being crowned King and Queen. November 2nd, 2022, Daniel J. Estrada, Mayor, Daniel Damian, Mayor Pro Tem, and our council members, Alejandra Avila, Monica Garcia, and Paul C. Hernandez. And of course, our city treasurer, Maria Contreras, and our city clerk, Marlon Garcia.
Nice.
And then we do have Veronica Lopez from Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio's office, who has some certificates as well.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mayor Estrada, council members, and audience. My name is Veronica Lopez, and I'm here representing Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio. First, I want to thank the city, its council members, staff, Parks and Recs, especially the Senior Center, for their continued efforts at providing programs that benefit our seniors and our families for many years to come. Thank you very much. Tengo el honor y el placer de presentar al señor y la señora Josefina y Vicente Soria, un reconocimiento en nombre del Estado de California y de la asambleísta Blanca Rubio. Gracias por su dedicación y participación en el Centro de Senior Centers de Baldwin Park. Y hoy celebramos su reinado como el rey y la reina de la ciudad. Felicidades. ¿Quiere hablar?
Ella es la que está más preparada para aquí de esto. A ver.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Josefina y pues les doy las gracias aquí a todos los de la comunidad de Baldwin Park, que pues nunca nos imaginábamos que íbamos a llegar a este lugar de reina y rey. Les agradezco a todos los que nos apoyaron y muchas gracias a la comunidad de Baldwin Park de tercera edad. Muchas gracias.
Good evening to everyone, to the city of Baldwin Park. And we never imagined that we would be one day King of Queen of Baldwin Park. And I thank you all for the support and this honor. Thank you very much.
Sonríe. Para arriba. Les damos muchas gracias por todas sus atenciones que nos han brindado. Estamos muy orgullosos de tener una ciudad tan bonita y que le dan mucha oportunidad a todos los seniors, sobre todo. Espero que sigan con su trabajo, complaciendo al pueblo de Baldwin Park. Y que viva Baldwin Park.
Thank you for this honor. I'm very proud to be the city of Baldwin Park. And I hope you continue helping and taking care of your senior citizens. And I hope you continue doing your job the way you're doing. And I hope to enjoy this again. And long live Baldwin Park.
Thank you, and congratulations to the senior prom king and queen. And of course, we want to acknowledge our staff, Manny and his Parks and Recreations team, because they did put on quite a decoration for that event. It looked really good, and it's not possible without them. So we want to make sure we acknowledge them. And next, we do have a Lakota presentation, and that is going to be presented by Lakota and I believe the SGV COG.
Good evening, mayors and member of the City Council. My name is Yuriko Risa Esparza, Community Services Supervisor for the City of Baldwin Park and your homeless liaison. And tonight we'll have a presentation by our, actually quite a few of us, the City of Baldwin Park. The San Gabriel Valley COG will provide an update on the recent regional efforts, as well as introduce our Lakota Group service provider that started with us back in September. And we'll end with our police department supportive services and leads into additional homeless services that will be coming down the pipeline. Next slide. So just to provide a bit of a background, into the homeless efforts that the city has embarked in. We have been at the forefront of our homeless strategies since 2018. A lot of the groundwork has been established on creating a holistic approach to addressing homelessness from all levels, from all different aspects. So here you see the efforts around our strategic timeline and funding strategies that have allowed us as a city to position ourselves to combat street homelessness, prevention diversion, rapid rehousing, as well as most recently our ability to house people in interim housing sites at Esperanza Villa, as well as our newest facility at Serenity Homes. So we are just delighted to be able to share with you all the 2021 and 2022 efforts that really focus on tonight's presentation about what the next steps are in building out our local continuum of care for homeless strategies. So next slide. We wanted to raise awareness around our homeless delivery service model that's operated out of the Terry G. Muse Family Service Center. This first point of entry is really designed to help anyone experiencing homelessness at any level. This is an effort that we have collaborated through the Tri-Cities funding model and CES coordination, or CES continuum of care. So anyone in the Baldwin Park, Almani, and South Almani actually can access these services through Union Station Homeless Services. However, realizing that some of our residents will not willingly or come in to access those services in that robust kind of continuum of care, we have also identified service gaps in our delivery service models. So tonight you'll hear from our partners, which are here to solve just that, to focus on those very hard to reach or kind of a higher acuity client participants that are out in our Baldwin Park streets. So next slide, please. I would, at this point, like to introduce our partner with the Council of Governments, Caitlin Sims, who serves as our local programs manager, to discuss more about how the collective city and regional continuum of services addresses those two specific needs that we'll be discussing tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, Mayor, members of the council. Very happy to be here tonight. Thank you, Eureka. Again, my name is Caitlin Sims. I'm the local programs manager at the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. And one of the programs I'm really honored to work on is all of the homelessness programs that we're able to operate at the San Gabriel Valley COG. And it allows me to work with your great staff here in Baldwin Park. And just to kind of frame the conversation, obviously tonight we're really going to focus on two really specific programs, but it's really important to put that within a larger context of how, when you're talking about how to address homelessness and support persons experiencing homelessness, obviously there's so many components of the system that you really need to look at. It's not just about the outreach to those individuals. It's about having housing, both at a permanent, affordable level, also the interim housing, which your city has already well ahead of the game in that realm. Having the prevention diversion services, having the medical services, having the supportive services, things like workforce development programs, like a new program called SGV Works, which is actually going to specifically target workforce development opportunities for those residents at the Esperanza Villa and Serenity Home sites, as well as crisis response programs. So tonight we're going to specifically focus on two of these programs. Those programs specifically focused on outreach. And then also kind of a preview of something will be soon be coming to the city of Baldwin Park, the crisis response program. Go on to the next slide. So our approach is really focused on providing a multidisciplinary approach that really serves to serve persons experiencing homelessness as holistically as possible. Really acknowledging that, like all of us, persons experiencing homelessness have a diverse set of needs that aren't always addressed through their circumstances. So things like mental health, physical health, substance use disorders, just being able to connect with those basic needs in order to obtain that housing. So the programs that we're really operating in this round of funding are really focused at trying to address those specific client needs with a really targeted multidisciplinary approach. If you go on to the next slide. So we're really excited to be here today to talk about the supplemental team in partnership with LA CADA. This organization has been around for a long time, providing services really focused around drug addiction, but has really been able to expand its wide range of resources, residential treatment, mental health, patient services, and really focusing on supporting clients through a really client-centered, trauma-informed care and recovery-oriented care. So I'm really excited tonight to have a couple of representatives, and actually want to have Joshua come on up and introduce himself. This is Joshua Heinzman, who's a key player on all of these programs. So go ahead, Joshua.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members, and residents or community members here in the city of Baldwin Park. My name is Joshua Heinzman. I work for LA CADA, which, like Caitlin said, is the Los Angeles Centers for Alcohol and Drug Abuse. And since September 19th, my agency has had the opportunity to work in the city of Baldwin Park, providing services through the Supplemental Services program through the San Gabriel Valley COG. And like Caitlin was talking about, as an agency, we've been in business for a while. The slide talks about we started assisting service members returning from the Vietnam War, and we've evolved since then, recognizing that substance misuse, there's a greater wealth of issues that come up aside from substance misuse, and a lot of that is persons experiencing homelessness is tied to it. And so in the city of Baldwin Park, we get to be here out in your community on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We work really closely with the Departments of Recreation and Community Services. I know we work well with Chief Lopez and Sergeant Winter. And we've already made contact with your code enforcement, parking enforcement, and just a lot of really involved city staff and also residents and community members that are, invested in helping the homeless neighbors here in the city of Baldwin Park. I can tell you as an agency, 3 days a week, it is a small amount of time to be spending in your community, but in those 3 days a week that we've been out here, there is an individual that I was speaking to, Yuruko, about that. I think for about 2 weeks, we had spoken on the phone about this individual. She was in need of services, and through our persistent outreach efforts and collaborating with the law enforcement partners, this individual's in our continuum of care and is doing really well and is not out on the streets of Baldwin Park right now, and they are safe. And that's what it's all about for us. We are about quality rather than quantity. We want to make sure that our outreach efforts are going to benefit the individuals that we serve. We don't want to just come out in the city of Baldwin Park and tell you guys that we've met 100 people. We want to come out in Baldwin Park and get somebody off the streets and into a bed, and that's going to look different for every individual, but it's already happening. And that's just one success story. And I bring this individual up because I was involved in the process of assisting the team out here. And the gentleman sitting down over here, I have William. He actually is the coordinator specifically for the city of Baldwin Park. So I know he has already had contact with Sergeant Winter and Yuruko and her team. So we're really happy to be out here. It's refreshing to see a city that has a council and a mayor and a police chief that are so invested and working with persons experiencing homelessness. It really makes a difference. I can see it from the programs that Yuruko outlined, and just from the meetings that we had with the COG prior to coming out here. So I commend all of you for the work that you've already been doing for your homeless neighbors in the cities. It's fantastic to see it, and we're really excited about the opportunity to be out here. And I'll end with this. We work really well with law enforcement, and we are part of the paradigm shift with agencies such as Baldwin Park, where law enforcement is genuinely invested in helping get someone off the street. And it's always very telling for me when we go to these meetings. And the first thing that the chief told me after the meeting when he pulled me aside was that, you know, he wants to help these folks that are out on the street that are experiencing homelessness, that have, you know, issues with substance misuse or mental health. And that speaks volumes to what comes from you folks up here, and that climate that trickles down to law enforcement. And so we're very happy to be partnered with your police department here and helping get folks off the street. And so I'm not sure if y'all have any questions, but we're happy to be here, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. I do have a couple more slides to talk about a little more specifically what the programs are. If you can go on to the next slide. Thank you, Joshua. Yeah, don't go anywhere. Yes, this approach is really a regional approach. This is focused on maximizing resources to the extent possible. I'm acknowledging that obviously homelessness crosses city boundaries. It's not just a jurisdiction-specific issue, and people move from place to place. So the intent of this program was really to acknowledge that there are existing services that the cities have, that the county has, that LAHSA has, and be able to supplement those. I'm really focused specifically on what those kind of gaps in the services system are. And another really important component is maximizing that coordination between those services that do already exist, between the cities, between service providers, between county providers, to really ensure that it's providing as robust and comprehensive of services as possible. And there's not duplication of efforts. There's not enough resources to go around. So it's obviously extremely important to use those limited resources that exist as intelligently as possible. So this specific program for the whole region provides 3 teams, each one of which serves a cohort of cities. The cohorts are based on geography, past relationships between cities, and then finally the 2020 point in time count. You can go on to the next slide. This shows you what the cohorts are. We have obviously the San Gabriel Valley is a very large region. You'll see about 16 cities on the slide here, showing the different cohorts. Because of the unique challenges and needs within the city of Baldwin Park, you can see that there is a lot of resources dedicated to this cohort, the cohort that includes the city of Baldwin Park and South El Monte, which allows, as Joshua said, his teams to be out here 3 days a week and to be close by even on those other days. If you can go to the next slide. So as I said, this is a multidisciplinary program that really provides that broad complement of staff across a wide variety of disciplines: mental health, case management, to support physical needs, EMTs, like licensed vocational nurse, hazard navigators, and then also those outreach specialists as well. So the way the program is designed, each team is made up of four individuals, 2 of which are always out here on a weekly basis. The other positions kind of fluctuate and change based on the specific needs in the city. And Joshua and William, their teams are great in really helping define what those specific needs really are. We go on to the next slide. So as I said, this program is really focused on addressing those gaps within the services system, with a real specific focus on connecting clients to health services and, most importantly, to housing. So you can see the long list of services that the teams are asked to provide. We ask them to do a lot for us, and they do a great job serving that unique caseload of clients with a really strong focus on that data collection. We know that's something that's really important, to really look at the services provided and the outcomes, but looking at not just on outcomes specifically, acknowledging also the small wins that can happen for individual clients. Because as Joshua mentioned, it's so challenging to really build that rapport and that trust with these clients. You go on to the next slide. And I mentioned that metrics are extremely important. So we do have specific metrics that we're asking the teams to meet, which you can see on the slide, which are focused on outreach, but then also to connections and linkages to services and to housing. Go on to the next slide. And Joshua, you spoke a little bit about the efforts today. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to bring up in terms of the work that you've done here.
We've been out here for roughly 6 weeks. And I can tell you we've made contact with a lot of the individuals out here. It has been very helpful with the collaboration with city partners and the police department to be able to get to know your folks, because your city staff and your police department, like you know your folks. And so we're in the learning curve of getting to know the community, the individuals, and how to best serve them. And like Caitlin was talking about, it really does take a multidisciplinary team to be able to work with these folks to achieve results. And so that's why, you know, there might be days where it makes more sense to have two EMTs out here, or it's better to have two clinicians. And so we have the flexibility with the way this program is set up with the COG, that across the entire program, we can reallocate resources depending on the needs of, you know, the specific day. And so far, that has been very successful in your city, being able to meet those needs. And I know you all will be privy to the reporting that comes out to be able to see what it looks like in terms of numbers, what that data reflects. But so far, off to a really good start with your folks out here, and I can't stress enough just how excited we are to have this opportunity to be in your community. So thank you.
And so that is the work that we have done to date, but now we're excited to talk about another program that is upcoming, the Mobile Crisis Response Pilot, which now has a name, the SGV Crisis Assistance Response and Engagement Program, or SGV CARE for short. You can go on to the next slide. This is a pilot program that began in another set of cities on August of this year that includes 2 teams of 2 individuals with 1 clinician and 1 peer support specialist. And the peer support specialist is really specifically targeted to, again, the needs of what those cities are. So there are 2 teams that are out there currently. There's 1 team that is serving a cohort of cities, the cities of Arcadia, San Marino, and South Pasadena, and another team on a part-time basis, which is supporting the city of Montebello, specifically their Montebello Community Assistance Program, which is which is run out of their fire department. You can go on to the next slide. So once again, we're super excited to be partnered with LCADA to be able to provide an emergency co-response to those nonviolent service calls in partnership with police departments and fire departments. And the real idea is to provide a new tool in the toolbox for those first responders to be able to respond to calls around persons experiencing mental health crisis, persons experiencing homelessness, in order to really improve services for all individuals in the community. And really, the really important component of this project is really building that coordination between the LCADA teams and the police and fire teams and those first responders to build competence and confidence in the model to really truly offer an alternative crisis response that deploys these clinicians and peer support specialists to respond in designated situations, really focused on mental health crises and unhoused residents. It's really important to note, and I think you could, if you recall from the early slide when I talked about kind of that continuum of services, this is not an outreach program. It really is different than kind of the supplemental program that we were talking about. It really is focused on diverting calls from 911 and in order to provide a better outcome and a more targeted response for those residents, and to provide those resources for first responders so they don't need to be put in situations where they're being asked to respond to individuals in crisis without the full training that they need to really be successful in that environment and situation. Again, this program is really focused on data, collecting data, understanding what types of calls are coming in, what types of calls the teams are responding to. You can see on the slide here just some examples of data from the cities of Arcadia and Montebello. And this is really being used to both inform resource allocation, but also figure out how the program should be designed moving forward. So this is another really important component that's going to remain important moving forward. So we're very excited as well to be receiving some additional technical assistance from the Harvard Kennedy School Government Performance Lab. And what they have a cohort of cities that are nationwide that are working on alternative crisis response programs and implementing those programs, really looking at how to transition these organizations nationwide to alternative crisis programs. And really important to coordinate closely with the Department of Mental Health as well, that's implementing some of these programs. So if you can go on to the next slide. So this is the real reason that I'm here today. We're really excited that thanks to State Senator Anthony Portantino, we did receive an $850,000 state earmark, which has allowed us to be able to expand the program. And one of the cities that we're looking to be able to expand into is here in the city of Baldwin Park. So we've already started that coordination with your police department, with your city staff to be able to launch those services here in Baldwin Park in January. So we're really looking forward to that effort and really to be able to grow this alternative crisis program to provide even more resources to your residents here in Baldwin Park. We can go on to the next slide. I believe that is where my time ends, and I will turn it over to Sergeant Winters, I believe.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the community as well. First of all, before I begin, I just wanted to thank Joshua and his team for those kind words on behalf of my chief, myself, and our department. It's truly been a really good experience working with you thus far, and the commitment and the consistency to find the balance that our department needs to help serve the community, not only in our enforcement efforts, but also in our outreach efforts to treat our unhoused population with compassion. Because as I've said before, many of them have some sort of nexus to the city of Baldwin Park. So to begin, we just wanted to speak about some of our existing successes regarding the services that we provide for people in mental health crisis, so then we can then speak about how LA CADA will help supplement those services. So the Baldwin Park Police Department is going to continue to respond to members of the community suffering mental illness emergencies. To date, the Baldwin Park Police Department has had great success in responding to members of the community experiencing mental health crises, which have included persons experiencing homelessness. Due to our implementation of de-escalation tactics and crisis mitigation training, the department has successfully resolved mental health crisis incidents without the application of force. As an example, there was maybe about a year or so back, we had the incident with the individual who was in crisis and climbing onto the freeway bridge on Baldwin Park Boulevard. Our officers did a great job of de-escalating the situation, speaking him down and getting him help. So as a result, our department and officers have received numerous commendations from Department of Mental Health for the use of de-escalation tactics when assisting with mental health crisis calls for service. So in an ongoing effort to mitigate uses of force incidents, we will continue to receive training for mental health crisis and de-escalation tactics in addition to the LA CADA supplementation. Next slide, please. So we've also implemented the following to address issues regarding street level homelessness as well as nuisance encampments. Thus far, since working with LA CADA and working with our current city's homeless work group, we've created a homeless encampment response and outreach team, or a HERO team. We've also dedicated an officer to respond to calls for service regarding persons experiencing homelessness. This individual officer will also be responsible for responding to any requests for a police officer that LA CADA requests for if they don't feel safe to approach him. The department is also currently partnered, like I said, with our city's homeless working group, which is comprised of community services, public works, community enhancement for outreach, enforcement, and cleanup efforts. Next slide, please. So moving forward, our goals and expectation for the implementation of this supplemental partnership will be to reduce police involvement in any nonviolent mental health crisis and homeless housing services, to provide services for long-term community reintegration, to manage individual cases of services provided and make available results for a meaningful assessment of this supplemental partnership service, and also maintenance of case records documenting the outreach efforts by LA CADA and results in order for us to help also facilitate encampment cleanups and also for an overall program assessment. And currently we will be working on for the implementation of the second LA CADA team that'll be starting in January, developing protocols for the deployment of the LA CADA the mental health crisis team with our response to calls for service involving persons in crisis and persons experiencing homelessness. Next slide.
Any questions that the team may be able to filter? We are here to answer any questions or any next steps.
I have some questions. First of all, thank you for that great presentation. I feel it's always important that we continue to help our homeless, and the efforts that we have done as a city have been magnificent. Thank you, Eureka, for all the work you have put into it, and all the organizations that have come on board. Also, Officer Wenner, you're doing an amazing job dealing with the homeless. I know it's not an easy job, and now you have assistants, one more person helping you. So I know it will continue to be successful. And I know there's misinformation out there that, you know, they say Baldwin Park is inviting more homeless or what have you, but we're not. We're helping the homeless here already. The homeless that we're helping are residents of the city of Baldwin Park. And all we are doing is providing a better life for them. So I thank you for all the work that you're doing, and I hope we continue to do that. I do have a question, just so you can clarify for the public. When you're here on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, can you give us a little update on what exactly you do when you're out here, please?
Question. So one of the things that we do is we've established a mode of communication with the city partners, primarily through Eureka's office, and then also with the police department. And so typically what it looks like is if there is a specific request for service for a person experiencing homelessness in the city of Baldwin Park, in the morning, we will have that communication before the day starts. And if not, we start the day and basically will inform city staff that we have arrived. And the police department and the Eureka's office, or I'm sorry, Manny's office, has provided us with an area of hotspots of areas that are where efforts need to be concentrated. So if we're not given a specific request for service, we go to those locations to start. And so what that looks like is engaging the individuals that are there. And a lot of it right now, you know, we're 6 weeks in, is building trust and rapport. You know, like I had mentioned before, you know your folks here, like you know your homeless neighbors in the city of Baldwin Park. We don't. So we're building trust and rapport, and that really is half the battle, is to get to know these folks. And we treat them with dignity and respect and treat them like human beings. And in doing so, we're able to make inroads, and ideally, like the female that I mentioned, get them off the street. Sometimes it looks like encampments. You've had a hot spot on Francisquito where I came myself on multiple times. I contacted Sergeant Winter one day. He sent an officer like that when we asked for someone to give us a second set of eyes. So it looks different every day, but it really we're going with the flow, what works best with your city, but we're also being proactive. So if you're not giving us something that there's, you know, an immediate need, our team knows to go out and where. So because we've learned that from your city staff.
And that's so important for our community members to know, that you are out there seeking services specifically to an individual that has been identified, or to the hotspots, like you said. And building the rapport and building the trust is so important. I've been out with Officer Wenner doing homeless outreach, and the rapport and the trust he has built with these people means so much. Because what I've seen with our officers, not just Officer Wenner, because I've gone with other officers as well, the minute they approach, they're happy to see our officers there because they know they're offering service to them. And just like you said, we need to treat them well, because that could be somebody we know. That could be somebody's brother, you know, a sister, an aunt, an uncle that just fell on their luck and unfortunately have nowhere to turn. And right now, what we're doing is we're providing that second chance for them. So it is really important for the community to know what exactly it is you're doing when you're here. That's why I wanted to explain that. We are searching for individuals that have been already pointed out to us, and then we go to the hotspots, because that's important, because in those hotspots, there may be individuals that don't know the services that are out there to be provided. So thank you. That's all I wanted to explain to us. Thank you.
And if I might add one more thing to that is, it's outreach. So we're not sitting in an office or in a van waiting for the police department or the Parks and Recs to reach out to us. Like our team is out there outreaching. So we are proactively seeking out persons experiencing homelessness in the city. And aside from building trust and rapport, that's also like we have to be in your community, and that's the other thing that we're doing. We're not just sitting waiting. I'm not waiting for the mayor or yourself to call and be like, Joshua, there's a person at the park. Like we are going to find them because we want to find them first.
Right, and that's what I appreciate about this program, that you are looking for the individuals. I don't want people to think that you're coming here and you're sitting in an office, like you said. No, you're out there. You're under the bridges. You're in the hot spots, in the wash, wherever it is that we call a hot spot. So thank you for that. And these people, I know I've come across a few. They appreciate that the work that you're doing and giving them that hope that they had lost. So thank you very much for the work that you're doing. And remember, I want to remind the community that we are helping the homeless that are here in the city of Baldwin Park. We are focusing on housing those residents in the city of Baldwin Park. We are not bringing more homeless. They're already here in the city of Baldwin Park, and we need to help them because these are individuals. God forbid it's one of your brothers or sisters one day. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you for that, Councilwoman. I have to agree, right? There's unfortunately a lot of misinformation around the services that we've been providing and what we've been able to do. And we know that there's been homeless here way before the tiny homes and way before our LA CATA partnership. And so, I do want to acknowledge that all this is possible because of our staff, because of our partners. We give the green light, but it's staff that's here making things work. I'm very proud and excited to have our chief, who is very open about the idea of making sure that we are offering the right resource and the right service to the right and appropriate situation. I think some of our staff just actually went through mental health first aid training this week, which is also another important factor in how we treat our residents and those that are struggling with mental health. And then, of course, Sergeant Wenner, who's out there all the time and has been also productive and proactive in the effort, and Yuriko, who is a gem in the city of Baldwin Park. So we should be proud, right? And, misinformation is not going to solve homelessness. It's going to be a proactive and long and sometimes hard, and yet complex discussion, but it's a discussion that we have to have with our residents, and it's a discussion that we have to be honest about. And so, we've been, Baldwin Park should be proud. Baldwin Park staff should be proud about the things that we've been able to achieve in a small amount of time. And it's exciting. I got to see the pictures of the event that they had for the children at Serenity Homes, and to see that kids are enjoying their holidays rather than having to figure out where they're going to sleep that night or if they're jumping around. And so it's neat. And there's a very good story behind all of this that isn't being told, and it's not being told enough. So I want to make sure that we acknowledge all of you and that we show you our gratitude. And I'm sure that those families and those individuals that are getting that help are extremely grateful as well. And you're right, rapport and building that relationship with individuals and families is incredibly important. I think that's sometimes maybe ourselves and our residents, they get a little desperate and they want to see an immediate result, but that's just not how it works. Relationships have to grow, they have to be trust, and we have to remember that these are individuals that have a heavy set of trauma with them, that have been through unimaginable things that we have been fortunate enough to not have to go through. So it's a very long and hard discussion. I know that sometimes this type of work can be exhausting, so I do want to thank you all. And of course, you and your team at LA CATA.
Mayor, I do have a question.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you guys for the presentation, for giving us an update. I do have a question. You mentioned that you've been here for 6 weeks. Of those 6 weeks, how many of those people have accepted help, or how's your interaction been with the people that you've made contact with?
So I have to grab it from my phone. The interactions have been really positive thus far. Our engagement efforts have been really good in the city so far. I can give you some of the numbers right now. My apologies.
No problem.
So for the month of October specifically, we engaged 81 individuals. 45 of those individuals were first-time encounters, and 36 were follow-ups. So those 36 follow-ups were from individuals that we had previously made contact with since September 19th. And during that time frame, we've provided roughly 14 case management services. We've been able to link one person into interim housing. We've done some housing navigation. We were able to complete a medical linkage for one individual. Also, the other SUD linkage that I was discussing, someone that was a success story that we were able to get off your streets. That's who has been housed now for two weeks, Eureka, or a week. So, and also one mental health linkage. So, I mean, in a very short period of time, a lot of different folks linked to care, which is really, again, it's a testament to what you guys have already established here in the city. So very successful so far. There have been some individuals that have declined services, but that's to be accepted, but not to the degree, I don't want to make assumptions with it, but not nearly as much as, you know, if you're to look at your point in time count and those numbers, it's just a number. When you see that and you hear about like service resistance, like we're not so much encountering that, not a lot of declining or refusing services, a lot of folks that are engaging with us. So overall, really positive, Mr. Pro Tem.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that information.
On the declined services, even just in 2 months data for September, it was 19 people who refused services. And on the month of October, it was just 1.
Oh, wow.
So the communication, the ongoing efforts, and that continuum of outreach with the same staff members that they see every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday has made a huge difference in just a short amount of time.
So thank you for that, Eureka. So when you make contact with these individuals, and let's just say they declined services the first time you made contact with them, do you follow up with them again to see if they're willing to accept the help?
Yeah, absolutely. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, if we know where an individual is at a hotspot, or if it's, you know, an encampment, and we know that that's where they typically reside, whether they decline or accept services, we're going to continue to engage with individuals. And the folks that decline services, I don't want to say get priority, but those are the folks that we kind of identify that we really kind of need to spend a little more time with, because we need to develop that trust and rapport more so with those individuals who initially declined services. So to answer your question, we continue to exercise persistent, consistent, and compassionate engagement, especially with individuals that decline services.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much for that information. Appreciate it.
I'm sorry. Just since it's being discussed right now, I just wanted to acknowledge as well that I understand that also enforcement action is also a big concern of the community as well. By utilizing LA CADA in this program, it not only helps the outreach services, but it helps the department and the city do its due diligence to offer these outreach services with all of the current case laws and current laws protecting unhoused people. And doing our due diligence so that we're avoiding liability not only for our department but for the city as well. So this is necessary outreach that needs to be conducted first before enforcement action is taken. So I just wanted to add that as well.
Thank you for clarifying that, Sergeant.
And as part of that process, it does now give us a clear startup date on when those refusals of service, especially at like encampment sites, occur, so that our 14-day time period can start rolling, rather than waiting for like, you know, a delayed response with our previous service operations that we used to rely on. So this really allows us for also Public Works to conduct the encampment cleanups at the sites who have met those 14-day grace periods. And then, of course, within that 14 days, that continuous 3 times a week outreach is conducted. And it's ensured that someone from our LACADA team has gone out and outreach to that location. So it does provide us a sense of assurance in terms of when Public Works is able to be deployed to conduct those cleanup efforts, which we have already had a few in just the few weeks that we've operated the program.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you for the teamwork. The numbers that you guys provided are great. It's a great start and looking forward to continuing the efforts. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Nice. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Of course, like I said, I'm very appreciative and thankful for all your work and all you do. So at this moment, we are ready to go to public communications. So I will go ahead and open public communications. Chief Deputy City Clerk or City Clerk, is there anybody looking to speak?
We have one.
Mayor?
Oh, yes.
When I'm available, may I speak, please? Thanks.
Of course. Why, you can go ahead, Marie.
Okay, I just want to take this time to wish all of our candidates the best of luck on this upcoming election, and to thank all the residents that have voted and are going to vote to express their wishes for the best of our city. And thank you for your hard work. Not you personally, but all the candidates. But of course, you are included. And the best of luck to all of you. And we'll see what will result. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. City Clerk, who is looking to speak?
Thank you, Mayor. We received a written request from Catherine Lozier, our librarian. She will be providing library updates.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council and community. Starting on Friday, October 28th, with the support of LA County Supervisor Hilda Solis and Baby to Baby, the LA County Library launched a free hygiene product program at 5 libraries, which include Baldwin Park, Lancaster, Pico Rivera, San Fernando, and Willowbrook libraries. The diaper kits include 1 pack of 50 count of diapers as well as 1 count of baby wipes. And then our menstrual hygiene product kits include 16 pads or 21 tampons. Any member of the community or any member of Los Angeles community can stop into the library, approach us at the customer service desk, and request products not only for themselves, but also for family members who may not be present, and they can receive 1 kit for each family member. And again, nothing is required. Just stop at the desk, let us know what you need, or we're available to help you find the right size for your little ones. Then switching gears slightly, on November 12th, next Saturday, at 3 p.m., we're having an in-person program. It's one of our art programs for children. It's using plastic storage bags, which traditionally are used to help store and contain food, but we're using it to help create watercolor paintings with markers. And then the LA County Library is also celebrating the Native American Heritage Month all of November with virtual programs and other resources and enhancements. And a program of note is going to take place on Tuesday, November 8th at 4 p.m. It is Navajo textile weaving for teens. A renowned Navajo textile artist, Melissa Cody, will share the history of the textile weaving and the importance of it with the Navajo community. And that one will be taking place virtually. Thank you so much for all that you do, and stop in and see us at the library sometime. Got a kit. Thank you.
Those are all the written requests.
Thank you, City Clerk. And then, of course, staff, I think that's a very great initiative the county has taken in partnership with the LA County Public Library. We want to make sure we let our residents know about the available opportunities to have access to those services and resources. If anybody else is looking to speak that didn't fill out a speaker card, now is your time.
Juan Rios, resident. Sandy, I'm sorry I had to call you, the CEO. And then Greg Tuttle had to text the mayor and the CEO what the problem we're having. I hate to bother you on a Sunday. Very sacred to all of us. Sundays are, family time. The reason I call you is because people were walking into the streets because the taquero was there. That's the only reason, And it seems like it's the same taquero. I was home, they called me and let me know. So I went over there, took pictures. Those are the pictures I sent you guys. Those people are going to keep on coming until we start taking their stuff away. The same flower person in front of Food for Less, next to McDonald's, they know Sundays we don't have no code enforcement. Until we start taking all their stuff, they're going to keep on coming. Last Thursday, I was in front of Superior with my signs, El Diablo, and then, vote no, and stuff like that. And I was parked in front of Superior, and I noticed there was 5 individuals in there. The manager I know from there, and after they left because he had called the police department, I talked to him and he showed me some pictures that he has. The problems he's had with those 5 individuals. They go into those little stores and they, take whatever they want and take it, I know that we have an outreach right now for the drug enforcement and the homeless. These guys are not homeless. They're just gang members. On Friday, I went to El Super, and the same 5 guys were over there. We have to take care of the community. I talked to the managers, and they said, we have to put one individual in the door, not to let them come in. They have gotten into fights with them. You should send an officer, and talk to the
Sorry, your time is
manager.
up, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, City Mayor, Council, and support staff. My name is Justin. I'm the founder and president of Oath to Country Foundation. To my right is Xavier Figueroa. As a result of our collaboration in receiving the ARPA funds, our foundation has successfully located our first Baldwin Park resident, who is a United States Army veteran who is medically retired. We will be cleaning and repairing his home in the next 2 weeks. So currently our foundation is running Operation Hero Home Restoration. So we are locating elderly first responders, veterans, and seniors in the city of Baldwin Park, and we're helping them clean and repair their homes at no cost. Our first scheduled cleanup is Saturday, November 12th, the day after Veterans Day. So we are encouraging the community to come together to help us clean and repair this hero's home. The estimated project time is 8 a.m. to about 5 p.m. And we, again, are encouraging the community to come together. One of the more common questions I've been receiving over the past couple of weeks is, do you need to be a veteran or a first responder to come out and help this local hero? And no, you don't. We welcome children of all ages, parents, anyone who wants to come get involved, more than welcome to. The best way to register for this event is by logging on to www.oathtocountryfoundation.org, and there you can click on the Baldwin Park tab, and as you scroll down, you'll be able to identify your name, your number, as well as any specialty skills that you may possess and want to bring forward to help us help this hero. That day, we will then send you an email or text notification with the location of our Army veteran here in the city of Baldwin Park. We've taken initiative to partner with small businesses as well as large businesses here in the city of Baldwin Park. So we just partnered with Home Depot, Baldwin Park. They will be sending out 12 Home Depot volunteers. So come and see your men and women in orange that day. And also, I want to honorably introduce you to one of our newest partners. And thanks to our mayor for posting the flyer several weeks back. This gentleman is a Baldwin Park resident who served in the United States Marine Corps, who we just partnered with. And I'd like to share this time with Xavier Figueroa.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm the owner-operator of LA Trash Junkers. We are a Baldwin Park business, and I myself am a Marine Corps veteran. My brother is a U.S. Army combat medic, and I have another brother who's currently serving in the Air Force. But with that being said, that just gives me a great pride to be able to help out the Oath to Country Foundation. So thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas noches, me llamo Abel Transmisiones, vivo en Baldwin Park por 42 años y mi complaint ahora es estuve oyendo acerca de los hombres que los levantan, cuándo levantan diario, cuándo se han recuperado. Si ha recuperado 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no sabemos, a lo mejor siguen igual. Y eso es lo que queremos saber, si no se recuperan, cuál es la razón que están allá adentro nada más. ¿Se salen o qué hacen? Yo veo los mismos diarios, vienen otros de Azusa, de Escobina, de donde quieran ir recorriendo las calles diario.
Good evening, my name is Abel, a Baldwin Park resident for 42 years, and my complaint today deals with the homeless. Sometimes they get picked up, 3, 4, 5, and we don't know really if they get released or if they somehow leave by themselves afterwards, if there's no recovery. So what happens? I've been seeing this throughout many cities like Azusa and West Covina.
La semana pasada en la mañana yo pasé en la calle en la Fraser y una indigente atacó a una persona. Me paré, le pregunté qué tiene. Me atacó un indigente. ¿Y qué hizo? Llamé a la policía y ya vino la policía. No vino la policía. Duró 30 minutos, ahí duré con ella 30 minutos. Le llamé a la policía y dijo la despachadora que no era de emergencia, que se metiera ella. Pero no es el punto es que tiene que llegar a la policía rápido. ¿Qué tal si la mata o le hace algo, verdad?
Last week, I was there near Fraser, and there was a homeless individual who attacked a person. And I approached the person and I asked her, have you called the police? And she said, no. So we called the police, and the dispatcher told us that it would be 30 minutes. And, they told me to assist her. But that's not the case. The police should arrive quicker, right?
Después enseguida fui a la Big Delton, donde se parquean todas las motorhomes, y otra persona ahí tenía su carro arriba con los gatos, porque le pregunté, ¿qué pasó con tu carro? Un indigente me robó los 4 rines con las llantas, un carro nuevo. Entonces le digo, ¿qué podemos hacer? No, pues la llamé a la policía, ya vino, pero no hicieron nada. Entonces estamos tratando de que se retiren esos hombres, porque estamos perdiendo mucha gente, se va yendo de la ciudad.
And on different occasion on Belton, there were the area where the motorhomes are. There was an individual who lived there, and he had his car with a jack, because the homeless individual had stolen all 4 of his rims, and we called the police. And this is a situation that is creating a number of residents in Baldwin Park leaving the city.
También hay mucha gente que viene de fuera de la ciudad, no paga permisos por poner anuncios en las calles, en los postes, se anuncian mucho en la ciudad y no están pagando los permisos. Entonces yo paso y les digo que no tienen que ponerlos y me preguntan quién eres tú. Yo no soy simplemente, yo estoy defendiendo mi ciudad, que tienen que pagar los permisos. Y Lo que hago yo, lo bajo los permisos de arriba porque los pongo muy altos. Yo tengo que subir con mi escalera a bajarlos. Y como que pues no es correcto que yo me ande bajando en lugar de que los baje el de la ciudad, los que se encargan de bajar los anuncios.
Also, there's a number of individuals who come from other cities and who post posters in different areas without permits, without paying their fees for them, for these posts. And I tell them, so you shouldn't be doing that. And they tell me, they confirm me, they say, who are you? And then I said, I'm just a resident here. So what I do is after they leave using a ladder, because they put them quite high, I put them down, but I shouldn't be doing this. This is something the city should be doing.
Ok, Mr. Ron, apóyenos por favor, porque es mucho trabajo para nosotros también, ok. Si no hacemos la ciudad mejor, no sé cómo la vamos a hacer.
Mr. Runner should appoint people to do this because if we don't do it, I don't know how we're going to resolve this.
Ok, es todo. Gracias.
That's all. Thank you.
Jesse Plata, a resident of Baldwin Park. After seeing that group over here helping the homeless, I mean, there's just so many times that you can hand them a box of tissues. Now, some of them have to motivate themselves, and we're not there to be doing that. Seems like there's never going to be any end as long as we keep providing for them. Now, and I don't want to go so much into that. Where are we failing to do that? Now, why do you provide a bus and pick them up and take them to the employment office and tell them to stop crying on everybody's shoulder? That's the only way that's ever going to be an end to it. And somebody said that they're from here. No, you're inviting everyone from the county, the state to come over here. Baldwin Park is going to provide all these things for us. That ain't the American way, and that ain't any good for their self-esteem, for their morale. Have them earn. And going with the pastor that was up here, and he said something about drugs getting into school. And yes, the CR marijuana bill. Now, what's going to keep the drugs out of school? There ain't nothing. What's going to keep that from getting somebody overdose and having to provide services for them? Our taxes, our insurance are going to go up, residential, car insurance, and everything. I see nothing but that you're out there to help all this weaklings. They got to get up their butt and start providing for themselves. Now, there's been progress in this city from past people that served here. You can go and see Home Depot. You can go right there and see Walmart. You can go Target, Smart and Final. You're supposed to run the city like a business, not a charity camp. Now, if you want to be working with a missionary, then I suggest join missionary work and do that. In my city, I want it to flourish up, and we're not going to flourish by providing for all this weaklings. Yes, it's good to get them off and motivate them. And if you have to take them to the employment office, you should be doing it.
Your time is up, sir. Sorry.
Anybody else looking to speak? If not, I will move to close public communication. And before we move on, I do just want to close on behalf of El Monte's Chief of Police, Ben Laurie, who tragically come to some health issues. And so we just want to pay our respects and let the city of El Monte, our sister city next door, that we are here with them and we are here to support them in any way possible. At this moment, I will move to open consent calendar. If there's any items council is looking to pull, now is your time.
Mayor, I will put item number 7.
All right. So I will make a motion to pass items 1 through 8, excluding item 7. Can I get a second?
Second.
City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, hold on 1 second, I'm sorry. Mayor Manuel Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Alejandra Avila,
Yes.
Councilmember Monica Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Daniel Damian.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you for that.
Mayor and Council, because item number 7 relates to a contract matter involving my law firm, I am not able to participate in this matter, and so I will be recusing myself and leaving the dais and leaving you to your discussion.
Council, I believe you can stay in the audience, right?
I believe he's going to.
You just cannot provide legal advice.
Great. Okay. Mayor Pro Tem, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. So I would like to support appointing BBK as an interim city attorney, but I would also like to consider them to be appointed as a permanent city attorney. Enrique, if you could please bring back a staff report for the next council meeting of November 16, 2022. After you discuss with BBK, including the applicable negotiated rates for versus interim.
Is that your motion?
That is my motion.
Okay. And then-
Second?
Sorry, before we vote,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem, can you just clarify one more time?
Yeah, so my motion is to appoint BBK as our interim city attorney and then have Enrique bring back staff report for the November 16th council meeting to appoint them as a permanent city attorney after they've negotiated the rates, because I believe the rates we have right now are for interim rates. So we would need those rates versus the permanent city attorney rates.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Damian, so if I could suggest or recommend that the council make the appointment for interim city attorney today, and then direct me to come back as you interim city attorney.
That's what he did.
Direct me to come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, so my motion is to appoint them as an interim city attorney today.
Yes.
On the November 16th council meeting, bring back a report so we can address appointing them as a permanent city attorney.
Very good.
So, Deputy City Clerk, would we be able to appoint them today and then come back with the actual numbers?
Mayor and members of the City Council, that is correct. You may appoint him today and negotiate the rates as a permanent city attorney.
Councilmember Damian, would you be willing to just appoint him today and then negotiate the rates at the next meeting?
Well, I don't know if we want to appoint them permanent, not knowing what the rates are going to be. Permanent
Well,
versus
we
interim.
already had.
Yeah, no, we did not notice the agenda for permanent.
Okay.
So we have to come back in 2 weeks, not just because of the notice, but because of giving me an opportunity to negotiate perhaps better rates for permanent.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem, can I make a suggestion?
sure, go ahead.
Would it be possible to consider a more competitive process so that we can see what the best rates are and possibly negotiate the best rates even with BBK if that's the direction we go?
So that was my initial thought at the beginning, but last year when we when we went through the RFP for the law firms that we brought in 5 different law firms. Those were the best that we felt as a council that were the best for our city. After reviewing BBK's extensive services in municipal law, I believe that it's to our convenience to stick with a firm that is not only professional and reputable, but that really has no political ties and kind of a neutrality. So I would really be in favor of appointing them as an interim. Let's see what the rates come back with at the next council meeting for a permanent, and then we can discuss it there, depending on what the rates are.
Okay, because I would be willing to support the appointment of interim city attorney, but I think that I would want to have a report, understand why BBK would be the best attorney moving forward, and I would want that to be part of my decision making. So
why don't we do this? Why don't we can approve them as an interim city attorney today. Then Enrique can bring that back the staff report for the next meeting. Once we look at the rates and see what their qualifications are in that staff report, Enrique, include them there. And then if we don't feel that they're adequate at that time, we can just go out for RFP.
mhm. So could we say something like appointment of interim city attorney tonight, and then the staff report for consideration of permanent?
Yeah, that's
appointment?
fine because we're not. So today we're appointing them as interim, and then we're going to bring them back for a permanent at the next meeting. But it's going to be based on the rates negotiations that Enrique is able to negotiate with them, and then we can have a discussion there to see if they're going to be their best fit for permanent.
Mhm.
So we can discuss that at the next meeting, because we're not selecting them as a permanent city attorney now. We're going to select them as an interim for now, and then we'll pend it in 2 weeks, and then we can go ahead and review the rates and then see if they're a best fit for us. And if not, then we can just at that time recommend that we go out for RFP.
Is there any way that in that staff report that Enrique will prepare that we can look at what other city attorney rates are, at least as part of this process? So we have something to compare to,
We can.
a reference?
Yeah, we can do that. Enrique, if you can reference other hourly rates from other attorney firms at that time. I mean, honestly, I went through extensive reading with the law firms that we chose, the bench of law firms last year, and we selected 5 out of I don't remember how many. But to me, honestly, after reviewing BBK's services and reputation, I think it would be in the best interest of the city of Baldwin Park to obtain them as our law firm. I mean, they've got it, like I said, they've got such a long list of municipal law where we don't have to go to other firms to contract out another attorney. So what I liked about BBK is, example, let's just say we have a question on election law, and let's say our city attorney isn't well versed in that particular. His law firm is, they have specialists in that. So they'll go straight to them, get that information, saving us on the legal fees, because they're not about just racking up the legal fees. And that's one of my biggest priorities, is looking over our current legal fees. I see that we're getting billed for every little thing. So with BBK, because they do have that extensive knowledge in law for municipal law, we would be able to save on the research time on the billable hours. So that's also one of the reasons why I suggested BBK, apart again from their reputation. So we can look at other hourly rates at the next meeting when he brings the staff report, so that we can compare. And then at that time, we can make a decision as to whether we decide to give BBK permanent city attorney, or would we suggest going out for RFP.
Okay, that's fair enough.
On your point, Mayor Protem, I will say just in the 5 weeks that we have had BBK helping us out, the response has been amazing and quite refreshing, frankly, for all of us as your staff. So, expect more productivity from your staff, okay?
Yeah, and and you hit it right on the nail right on the head, Enrique, because that was my concern with the prior law firms. Why it was taking us too long just to get an answer. So we can't continue to conduct business this way. We need to have a reputable law firm that's going to be able to answer our questions or staff's questions at the moment that they have those questions. So this is one of the main reasons why I selected BBK.
Yes, and we're not negotiating by any means, but I do expect, even for the interim appointment, BBK offered us lower rates just for the interim appointment. Them being a large corporate law firm or large firm, to have offered us the rates that I have been showing you on the staff report, it's quite telling. So we're very thrilled with it.
Right, and as Mayor Pro Tem said, we have done the research in the past.
Okay, I will bring the staff report in at the next council meeting.
Okay, and then just on there, just for Councilmember Garcia's suggestion is just go ahead and include other hourly rates from other law firms
Yes,
that we have something to compare to.
I will.
All right. So I don't have to repeat my motion, do I?
No. So there's you made the motion. Councilwoman Avila seconded. So City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Daniel Damian,
Yes.
Councilmember Alejandra Avila,
Yes.
Councilmember Monica Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Manuel Estrada.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Thank you for that. So we are down to our reports of officers. Approval of first reading of the 2022 California Building Code and authorization to set a public hearing for adoption. So at this moment, I will formally open the public communication. And for the public hearing, for anybody looking to speak in favor, or anybody looking to speak in favor of item 9. No, I will now formally close the public hearing for those speaking in favor and formally open it for those speaking in opposition. Is there anybody looking?
Mayor, if I can clarify, this is not a public hearing item.
Oh, okay.
The building code adoption is actually quite different than any other ordinance adoption under California law, because you're adopting certain codes by reference, meaning the California Building Standards codes. The way that the noticing requirements are that we first have to hold first reading, and then we actually hold a public hearing at second reading, which is completely different than the way we typically do it. So actually, tonight's action is just first reading.
Should have told me that before I said all that stuff. All right, so we have approval of first reading of the 2022 California Building Code and authorization to set a public hearing for adoption. So I will go ahead and make a motion to approve and accept the reports of officers and the staff recommendations. Can I get a second?
Second.
City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Manuel Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Alejandra Avila,
Yes.
Councilmember Monica Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Daniel Damian.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Thank you for that, City Clerk. And so we are, believe it or not, we're done with our meeting. There was no comments, but I do have one. City Attorney, since you are currently our City Attorney interim, I don't know if it's up to you or our City Clerk, but I do want to give direction to our staff to review our rules of decorum and potentially implementing a Robert's Rules of Orders, just so there's a better conduct on everybody's behalf, including myself, as we conduct city business. Great, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
I didn't include any requests on the agenda today, but there are some developments with regard to a property at Main and Olive, the property formerly known as Olive Square Market. And this has been a vacant property that is now attracting homeless and other activities. And so I've asked staff to take action and meet with the property owner and do what we need to do to address the nuisance that this property has become. And I do plan to add this item to the agenda for every council meeting and ask that staff report back with the status of the property, any proposed projects, and I definitely want to see movement on this item because it has sat vacant and idle for too long, and now it's attracting unwanted behaviors and activities. And it's not fair for our kids who walk past that property on a daily basis, twice a day, going to and from school, that they have to see that. For one, it's an eyesore, and then encounter any of the activities that this vacant property is attracting. And it's sat there for years now. So I just wanted to make mention of this because it is a priority for me, and I will be very vocal on this issue moving forward. So expect to see the item on every agenda moving forward until we see something really wonderful come from that property. So thank you.
Great, thank you for that. All right, so at this moment, we are ready to adjourn. If there's no more comments or questions from staff or council, I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, any objections? If not, meeting is adjourned. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.